Finally, an MMO that Amazon can't mess up, right? With the monumental massive issues that New World has had, from players abusing immortality bugs to win territory wars and PvP in general, to the 742 different duplication methods that players were utilizing to destroy the economy, Amazon Game Studios have repeatedly shown their sheer incompetence when it comes to game development. But this time is different, right? This time, they're not developing Lost Ark. Smilegate are. They cannot possibly mess this up, can they? There's absolutely no way. Hey, my name is STIX, and what you're smelling right now is copium, as Amazon have somehow done the absolute impossible and managed to implement a duplication exploit that have allowed well over 60,000 players to duplicate millions of dollars worth of Founders Pack rewards. I know, shocking, right? Now, if keeping up with news like this is of any interest to you, I urge you to go ahead, subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell. That way you can remain updated with anything and everything related to the MMO genre, and more specifically, to Lost Ark. Now, this exploit wasn't just something minor, something that rolled out relatively unnoticed and was patched immediately upon being reported. Rather, it plagued players over the course of the entirety of the second day of the head start. And with the exception of a few different Reddit posts and mentions on the forums, this has surprisingly flown relatively under the radar. Now, I am going to show you two different instances of this happening live. On the one hand, we have the AMSA, and on the other, we have MRSSTIX. Now, both of these people were streaming, they were live when they realized that this was happening. As you can see, AMSA went on to redeem his Founders Packs rewards, and he then proceeded to log back out and then log back in, and then he realized he could redeem the Founders Pack rewards for a second time. And while Mercury didn't necessarily log out and back in, he has an inventory filled with Founders Pack rewards. Again, both of these instances were handled live, and this is, in my opinion, a game-breaking exploit, and many, and I stress the word many here, players went on to abuse it. Although that isn't even the worst part of it. What's worse is the fact that even more players were unaware of this even happening and went on to redeem their rewards a multitude of times, completely oblivious to the fact that this was a bug and that this means they were technically taking part in the abuse as well, which makes it almost impossible to make the distinction between players that were abusing the exploit by choice with the intention of beneficial gain and those who were completely unaware that it was an exploit at all. Amazon did go on to address this at a point later in the day, with Rox making an official forum thread titled "Regarding Multiple Item Claims." The thread went on to read as follows. Yesterday, a database timeout led to multiple claims of Founders Packs and Twitch drops for some players. This affected less than 4% of all accounts, with the majority of these players only redeeming 1 to 2 extra items, which did not include any additional royal crystals. We worked quickly to deploy a fix that has prevented additional items from being created, and are currently working with Smilegate RPG to revoke the items that were created during the period that this occurred. We expect this fix to come later today, as it is a priority for the team to keep the in-game economy intact. Thank you for your patience, and we will provide an update as soon as possible. Now, I do want to note here that sales for this game were actually made public yesterday, on February 10th. There were a grand total of 1.5 million total Founders Pack sales made within the first 72 hours of this game launching its head start. Do you know what 4% of 1.5 million is? 60,000. 60,000 accounts participated in the duplication of items minimum. That is if Amazon are being genuine here and not downplaying the situation by reporting less counts of the abuse than what we saw. They state that there weren't any additional royal crystals duplicated, and while I can't personally verify if that is or is not the case, the fact that the duplication happened and is still attempting to be cleared up is still a very damaging blow to the economy, the player base, and even the game itself. Amazon did go on to confirm that they are working with Smilegate, the actual developers of Lost Ark, in an attempt here to revoke the items that were created during the period this exploit was occurring. But we all know how organized and effective their development team is, right? Amazon's, that is, not Smilegate. I mean, let's just take a moment here to look at New World's latest update. They went ahead here and they introduced a brand new skin into the game. The skin in specific being the Corrupted Love Pack. And then they immediately had to go ahead here and remove the skin because The skin was accompanied by a bug that caused the servers to crash. That is what we'd have to look forward to, at least theoretically, potentially, if Amazon ever introduced anything into Lost Ark that was not already included in the Korean version added or introduced specifically by Smilegate. Amazon Game Studios are not the developers for Lost Ark. Smilegate are, and Smilegate did not, to my knowledge at least, ever have issues with duplication exploits being present when their game launched in South Korea, or in Russia, or even Japan. So how is it that a company with the funding that Amazon has managed to be the only publisher to mess things up to this magnitude? There's a reason that New World, and more than that, Amazon have become a laughingstock, a meme amongst the MMO community. Claiming incompetence here is an insult to incompetent companies like Nexon or Gamigo. Amazon is the publisher for Lost Ark, which means that realistically they are not going to be, or at the very least should not be, introducing new lines of code into the game. So realistically, there should be nothing to worry about with regards to bugs or exploits, but introducing Founders Packs into the game has left them with the responsibility of importing them directly into the game, and effective game development is clearly something their studio is just incapable of doing. While the future of Lost Ark does genuinely look bright, the game has broken record after record, both pertaining to its head start that was available exclusively to founders, and its launch for both founders and free players. It's nevertheless still a little bit disconcerting to acknowledge the fact that if Amazon ever want to introduce anything into this game, this is what we might have to expect. A skin that the Korean version doesn't have, potential duplication exploits, potential full server crashes. An event to celebrate a holiday that Korea doesn't celebrate, potential duplication exploits, potential full server crashes. Now don't get me wrong, I love Lost Ark. I have been playing the Russian version of this game for years at this juncture, and I've been covering this game ever since it was announced all the way back in 2016 or 2017, I think. I've already put well over 20 hours into the North American version of the game since the Head Start launched as of recording this video, and to me, it's such a surreal experience being able to play it in your native language with hundreds of other people that you know, and having everyone actually enjoy their time within it. But this bug, this exploit, was abused repeatedly, and it is incredibly damaging to the community and to the economy. We saw what duplication did to New World. We saw what bug abusers did to New World. This is something that cannot be tolerated, it should not be tolerated, and should not be allowed to happen with Lost Ark. This game has far too much potential and is too great a game for that. I'm actually a little taken aback by the fact that Amazon and Smilegate opted to comb through manually removing rewards on an account level. This is both a very time-consuming process and likely one that will result in many missed instances of removal. I'm also shocked that no bans were issued to players, or even warnings for that matter. I don't believe everyone that received duplicate rewards should suffer consequences, but there is a difference between some random guy that received rewards 3 times and some other guy that received the rewards 30 times. It should theoretically be very easy to discern the difference between abusers who abuse the exploit for their own gain with full knowledge of the situation and abusers that had absolutely no idea what they were doing. Hopefully this is the one single instance that we will have to discuss something like this happening, because realistically, I want everyone to enjoy this game in every single way that they can. It's an incredibly fun game and there's just so much of it to enjoy. But at the same time, I don't know, I have my doubts, as Amazon have repeatedly shown their level of ineptitude, of incompetence. But I guess at the end of the day, only time will tell. Regardless, I genuinely hope that all of you are having a lot of fun in Lost Ark. Both MRSSTIX and I are having a blast playing it. It has been a lot of fun for us both over the course of the last few days. And with the exception of the delayed launch for free players, that, because the game went down for maintenance at, I think it was 8 a.m. for us earlier today, and has been down for 9.5 hours as of recording this video. But with the exception of that one single issue and this duplication exploit, we have had absolutely no issues thus far.